Okay, I have rolled up my microcheck onto my dowel the same way, and I have got my needles all threaded in my pleater. And once again, I'm going to just slide this in here, and I'm going to get it started, and I'm going to have that holding row as close to my cut edge as possible. And I'm going to turn a couple cranks and get it to grab. Sure that that's getting started straight. It's very obvious when you're working with a gingham print if it's going through straight or not straight. You're going to really keep an eye on that. The check of the fabric. Alright, and you're just going to roll it through just like you did the white dress. And you're going to try to keep that just as straight as possible going through. Sometimes if it starts to get a little bit off, if you pull on your fabric a little bit and kind of help it through the pleater, it will help straighten up if it starts to get off and going a little bit crooked on you. I'm going to finish pleating this up, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. And like I said, you're going to run your gingham through just like you did your white dress, and you're going to see, and even right now mine is starting to give a moire effect as it goes through, and that is natural. That's how your gingham is going to come out. It's not going to go through where you're going to have all the brown showing up on top. It's going to have a moire look, and that adds beauty, I think, to a micro check or a gingham check dress, smocked dress. So I'm going to continue, and I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to show you how it looks once the gingham comes out. Okay, I have both bishop dresses with the neckline pleated up. Here's the white one, and this is how it looks on the gingham. As you can see, you get this moire appearance, and that's how they all come out. I had a dress that was featured in the So Beautiful Blue issue, and it was Lovely Little Ladybugs, which is a micro check, and as you can see, it had also the moire effect when you pleat it up. And here's a close-up of the dress so that you can see the the appearance of the moire effect, and I think it adds beauty to the smocking. It gives another color, it gives some depth, and that's just how a gingham is going to look. So don't think it's wrong when you pleat one up and it looks like this. That's how it's supposed to look. So the next thing that we're going to do is block our smocking. And to do this, I have an Heirloom Stitchers Shape and Press board, and this is by June Taylor. I believe that you can purchase these from Martha Pullen Company or June Taylor, or there's a lot of different places that you can get these from. I recommend getting one because this is a nice soft cushiony. You can pin into it and you can iron, and it has all the markings on here for the necklines from newborn up to adult size. And so it has also shows where your sleeve seams and your shoulder seams need to be, your center back. There's a lot of information on this that is very helpful in when you block your bishop. And so I would recommend getting one of these if you don't have one. There are paper patterns. I believe that there was one in an issue of So Beautiful. If so, I will make a copy of that and make it available for you to print off and be able to use it. that I'm not violating any copyright infringements. I'm giving it away. I'm not selling it. So this will, if I can find that, I'm going to print that off and make that available to you for those who don't have a bishop blocking guide. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started in blocking the bishop. And it's very simple to do. You're just going to lay this out on here, and you're going to make sure that all your threads were knotted, and you're going to go by the neckline. You're going to put the center, and center is easy to find because I have this crease in the front. When I laid out my pattern, laid it out on the center, and so I'm going to follow that crease. I'm going to get my pins, and I am going to start pinning this down to the board with the neckline matching up according to size. That's important because all necklines are not going to be the same. And then just start fanning out your smocking, your pleating. You're just going to fan it out into a circular shape following these guidelines. Now when you get to the shoulder seam, you're going to look on your board for the shoulder seam line. You're going to make sure that you pin onto that shoulder line seam at the top and at the bottom, following at the correct neck size. You get to your next sleeve seam and pin that. And you're just going to work all the way around, fanning out your pleats as you pin this to the board. I'm going to go ahead and get this pinned on, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, I now have my bishop dress all pinned to the board, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Just like that. I have made sure that I have tried to get all my pleats nice and straight, evenly spaced. You can just kind of brush them with your fingernails to get them all evenly spaced. I have lined up my shoulder seams with the shoulder seam lines that are on the board. The seam lines, the little folded where we put our sleeve on the center seam of that, or on the center fold of that piece of fabric. I'm using that fold as my guide for the top of the shoulder, and there's also top of the shoulder guidelines on this board. My neck line is pinned to the correct size of the neckline, and now you can use as many pins as you want. Word of caution, always use glass head pins because you're going to be putting your iron down on here, and you do not want melted pins on your fabric. That would be a disaster. So once you get this all pinned on, you've lined everything up correctly, then use spray starch, that helps, and just give it a light spray all the way around. And I go ahead and get it, wet, and then take your iron, and I don't lay the iron on top of the pleats because I don't want to smash those pleats down. I just let the steam burst your steam into those pleats all the way around, and give it a good steam through all the way around. Then what I do is I just let it be, and I'll leave it overnight. Even if I've done it in an evening, leave it overnight. Tomorrow we'll take it off the board and we'll start smocking. Or leave it until it dries, because you want these to be nice crisp pleats. You've got a lot of wasted thread here, and that's going to happen because you've used these threads to pull up and get everything even. Once we're done with all this blocking it and it dries, then we're going to tie these threads off so that they're tied off, and we'll hold this into a circular into a circular. So I'm going to now, I'm going to block up the micro check so that you can see what that looks like on the blocking board, and then from there we will move into lesson 3, and lesson 3 will begin smocking. Okay, I have pinned my microcheck to the board, and you can see this moire effect all the way around, and I have evenly spaced out all my pleats and got my seam lines on the seam lines and the shoulder fold on that shoulder line, and now I am ready to spray starch it and steam it and let it dry. Now, some people may wonder why do I block it? Why don't we just leave it straight and smock it that way? And the reason why I think blocking and smocking in the round is very important is because if you keep it straight, the tendency is going to be to smock too tight as you work down the front of the dress. And as you can see, your stitches are going to be closer in here than they're going to be out here. So your design has to follow within that, working, for instance, let me show you what I mean here. Like on this design here, this makes it a little easier for you to see. The stitches are tighter here and they're more spread out here. And you're going to work down that way. Now, if you kept this all straight and you smocked with it straight, the tendency is going to be to pull your stitches too tight, and then you end up with a bishop dress that is turtlenecking. And there is nothing worse than a bishop dress that turtlenecks. And I think that it's just smart to do it this way, rather than run the risk of turtlenecking a dress and you've spent all that time smocking it and it turtlenecks on you and there's nothing you can do. Once it's like that, it's stuck like that. So if you smock while it's in the round, and if you take these steps to block it, starch it, let it dry, and set those pleats, and then try to keep your smocking in the round, you're going to avoid those turtlenecks. Now, some people even use this board and they smock right on this board. They leave their fabric pinned here and they start working all their stitches across the front. That's fine. You can do that if you like to. To me, the board is bulky. I don't like to have the bulkiness of the board, and it doesn't allow you to take your smocking with you wherever you go and work on it, because you have it pinned to this board. But if that makes it easier for you, that's fine. I just try to keep everything in the round as I smock. And as we begin to smock these dresses, I'll show you exactly what I mean. But anyway, here is, this finishes up lesson 2, and it has taken us through stitching up our side seams and pleating up our sleeves and finishing off the bottom of our sleeves. And we're still going to just leave these like this. We're not going to draw up these pleating threads until all of our smocking is complete on the neckline. We're just going to leave these as they are. So, and we have pleated both of our bishops. We've blocked them and we've starched them, and now we're letting them dry. And the next lesson will begin smocking. So I hope to see you then. And as always, if you have any questions, please leave those questions on my blog, or you can email them to me at southernstitches@charter.net. And I look forward to our next lesson.